All right, this will discuss a little bit about the process of landscape design and who are landscape designers and who are landscape professionals. Why do you need to do landscape design? It's the major way of getting your information, your ideas, your creativity across to your clients. So it is the tool for communication. You might do a rough sketch. You might go all the way through the design process, from bubble diagrams, preliminary ideas, functional diagrams, final diagrams. You might have elevation drawings, artist renditions, construction drawings. So there's lots of different types of drawings you might use. Each project will vary a little bit with what you're choosing. So if we look at this particular project, it might be more of a bit of a sketch, and that may be all that you need to get your ideas across to an individual. A little bit more detail here, still sort of a functional bubble diagram, but again, that might be enough for the client that you're looking for. Here's some examples of bubble diagrams. They're just jotting some ideas down on paper. Again, more bubble diagrams. You'll notice that the house is the same, the driveway and the sidewalk are the same. General concepts are very similar. Some things are moved around. Here's going to be more of a master plan, right? And this might be something that you need for a competitive bid situation, or you're trying to woo over a client, or the project is very, very large. You can see there are construction drawings on here. There's lots of different things to do. You might not need this level of detail for every single client. You might need something simple like this. This is almost a sketch. Not quite, but almost a sketch. More like a planting plan to give an idea of where each individual plant goes. Here are some elevation drawings so that you can see exactly what things look like from the top and from the side. The reason we do this is because every time we take a picture or every time we're drawing, we're looking at it from a two-dimensional aspect. But a landscape is a three-dimensional thing. Right? Every time we talk about it or look at it, it's 2 dimensions, but it's really 3 dimensions. And your challenge is to try to convince your clients that they can see in their head your creativity for their yard, because they're not trained to look at blueprints. Who's going to read your plans? If it's a small company, it might just be you and your crew. The larger your company gets, the more people might have their hands in those plans, and not just you and the client. If you're a contractor, maybe you're getting plans from somebody else, a subcontractor. Maybe you have a bidding department where they do the estimates and the bids. Maybe you have sales folks who have to sell it. Those are separate from the designers. Maybe you have contractors. Maybe you have subcontractors. So there might be a wide variety of people who need to read your plans. We've seen some of these. You might have all kinds of different things that you could use. You could even bring your computer or tablet and do little 3D video fly-throughs. There's lots of software that enables you to do those sorts of things as well. So you might choose all kinds of different things to sell your design. But from a very basic standpoint, you want clarity, as neat as you can possibly make it. You want accuracy as best as you possibly can. You need things clearly labeled, especially in the situation where you're not the installer. If you're selling your design to a client and they're going to do the installation, then you need to make sure things are clearly labeled. It needs to look professional and it needs to be easy to read, because you're trying to relay your information quickly and efficiently and as professionally as possible so that anyone can get a feel for your design. Yeah, sometimes you do need a little bit of words for explanation. You might have words for plants. You might have words for exactly how you want a pergola built or the base layer laid or those sorts of things. But you don't want to rely on words all the time. Presentation graphics is the phrase that we use for the utmost highest level of design graphics that there is. It takes a lot more time. It's a lot more detailed. It's much neater. And it's probably not always feasible. If your client really only needs just a little bit of their front yard redone, maybe a simple sketch is all that's needed. But if you're trying to do a competitive bid, you might need something that everybody can see and read easily. So there are some advantages to learning this, even if you don't need it all the time. It does make you more marketable. It does require a higher degree of skill, but it does make you look a lot more professional as well. Keep in mind here, a good drawing won't make a good design, but a bad drawing can ruin a really good design. So keep that in mind. Both of these drawings are fairly well done. The one on the right is a CAD rendered, and the one on the left is hand rendered. Very nicely done for both of them. Here's more of a computer CAD rendering as well. Again, it's not necessarily the clearest, but some labeling will clear that up. So, landscape design is an art. It's a science. What you're trying to do is create something that's functional for your client. And the function is up to the client. It's not up to you. The function is up to the client. So if I look at these drawings, I might look at them and go, hey, yeah, no, I don't think so. But I might think to myself, well, what did the client want? I might not understand why there are 5 daylilies in the steps over here in the upper right-hand corner with a sea of gravel. But maybe that's exactly solving the client's problem. I might look at the lower right and go, I don't like the way the plants are not close together. I would like to see more plants there. But maybe the client ran out of money. Plants are something that can be added over years. So what you need to do is talk with your clients and find out what solves their problem and not necessarily what you like or what you don't like. Same thing here. I can find lots of cool things about lots of these designs. I can find lots of weird things about lots of these designs. And if you take, say, for example, the upper left-hand corner, you go, oh my God, that's so full of plants. The next person might go, oh my God, that's so full of plants. That's amazing. So it just really depends upon you and your client. So it's your interpretation of their ideas. So landscape design is an art, a science, it's a profession, it's a process, might be a business, might be your occupation. It's all of those things. So if we look at the Association of Professional Landscape Designers, an organization, by the way, that if you're going into design, I highly recommend you look at, you're going to do, these are the things that they say they do: analysis, planning, design, creation, and or construction of exterior spaces. You know about hardscaping, you know about softscaping, you know about building materials, you can deal with slopes, you understand the maintenance aspects of things. So, this is an individual who's qualified to install, maintain landscape situations. And they're doing this for money. You're not doing this for free. You're doing it for money. The other one that we hear around here a lot is a landscape architect. And if you read this definition, it sounds very, very similar to that of a landscape designer. I'll give you a moment to read it. So what's the difference? The difference is the licensing. In Ohio, we have licensing laws for landscape architects. So to be a landscape architect, you have to have a degree in landscape architecture from an accredited institution. You have to apply in writing to the State Board of Landscape Architects. You have to have completed 3 years of practical experience under a licensed landscape architect, and you have to pass a board examination. To be a landscape designer, well, you can go out and call yourself a landscape designer right now. That doesn't mean that landscape designers don't have some of the same knowledge that landscape architects have. It's just not certified and licensed to be a landscape designer. We all know there's lots of benefits. Improved property value, improved aesthetics, etc., living spaces, expanding the different areas. You can come up with 100 reasons and 100 benefits for you and your clients as to why landscaping is beneficial. But what we're ultimately looking for is increased functionality of your outdoor spaces. That's the goal. Increased functionality of your outdoor spaces. Ideally, should cost about 10% of the value of the structure in the property. Can be high as 15 to 20% kind of on the coast. If you look at the East Coast and the West Coast, their cost of living is a lot higher than ours. The cost greatly depends upon where you live, but the challenge that you run into with that is landscaping is usually an afterthought or the very last thing people think about. So it's often something that is undervalued, particularly in new home construction. But if you can improve your landscaping, there's lots of benefits to that. I'll let you read these because you can go on the internet and find 100 million reasons that are benefits, and you'll find lots of ranges of the prices as to how much things benefit. And again, a lot of that's going to vary with where you live. But the reality is realtors believe that mature trees have a strong or moderate impact, right? Meaning that if you can get some larger trees, you can get some nice landscaping, you can at least get the appearance that the house is well maintained and get more money for your house if you're going to sell it. You can increase the curb appeal. It doesn't necessarily have to be low maintenance, but that's what everybody says that they want. Right? You can do lots of things that, a pond, a fountain, a waterfall, those are actually all high maintenance items, but they look good and people like those sorts of things. So as you go through these last few pages, just take a look at see what you see with the landscapes, what you like, what you don't like, why you might like it or why you might not like it, and then think about what the impact of the client is. Because while you might not like a particular landscape, think about what the client wanted when they asked for that landscape to be installed. What is the purpose? What is the function? Are we screening? Are we doing protection? Are we doing for beautification? There's lots of reasons that a person might have a landscape. These two are the same houses. These guys hired architects to come out and really, really alter the house a little bit. But look at the landscaping around it. It's vastly different as well. What is the impact of the landscape on the property? What is the impact of the property on the landscaping? Why are you putting everything there? That's the thing. When you put your pencil on a piece of paper or you move that mouse and you put something on a CAD drawing, have a reason for it. You need to have a reason for why you're doing things. Otherwise, you might as well not have any landscaping and your housing can look like this. Even this has a function. You might not like the looks. I'm not a big fan of taxes like this. You might not like the looks, but it has a function. So, the whole point is to create a functional space and to recognize that there are many, many facets of landscape design. All right, got any questions? Do not hesitate to get in touch.